This is the dev term. It's an off-the-shelf handheld Cyberdeck made by the company Clockwork Pi. It has a full QWERTY keyboard and a Raspberry Pi CM4. Now, I love this thing to death, and I've even collected a few more Cyberdecks since getting it. But I've seen so many people make their own Cyberdecks and they just look so freaking cool. I mean, come on, look at this. You can't say that doesn't look beautiful. Anyway, I was just chilling one day and I got an email from PCB Way, and they've decided to sponsor this video. So, alright, the first thing we have to do is set up a game plan. Step 1, order all of the parts that we'll need for our Cyberdeck, preferably using a service like Amazon to get fast delivery. Step 2, take measurements. We're going to use our caliper for this so that we can make sure that everything is accurate. And once we have that done, we'll go into designing the shell using Fusion 360, and we can finally move on to getting this thing printed. It's been longer than I expected, but we finally have all of the components from Amazon. Here we have our 10,000 milliamp hour portable charger. This should give me at least a few hours of use out of this device. After bringing the battery down to the workstation, we can go ahead and start taking those measurements. And now that we have all of those, we can move on to the next component. After searching around on the internet for a while, I've decided to settle on this 5-inch touchscreen display by Elecro. Now, there's two key takeaways here. This screen is only 35 bucks and you can mount your Raspberry Pi to the back of it. So I'm just gonna... Alright, now that we have the screen, you can see on the back how we have header pins that we can use to mount our Raspberry Pi. But we're going to have to take a couple measurements first so that we can make sure that everything fits. Now that we have those, it's time to take a look at the keyboard. As you can see here, I have my dev term. This Cyberdeck has a really long keyboard. I don't hate the keyboard, but it's not the best for typing with your thumbs. On the other hand, my Pico Calc has a small clicky keyboard with a backlight. This has been my most pleasurable Cyberdeck thus far, and I kind of want to mimic that effect. But I do like the length on the dev term just a little bit. So what if we could just merge the two into one singular keyboard? Going back to those Cyberdecks that I've seen on Reddit, everyone seems to mention the same specific keyboard. It's a pretty noticeable design, and you'll see that mostly everybody uses it in their Cyberdecks. There's no trackpad support, but I do have a touchscreen display. And this keyboard has a backlight, so I can even use the Cyberdeck in low light settings. So I went ahead and picked one of those up from Amazon as well. Okay, I have these switches and I have a pretty cool idea. I want to be able to turn on and off the Cyberdeck without touching the power bank. I'm going to take a USB-C charger and see if I can cut the power lines and put a switch in between them. Alright, some of you might be saying, that's not the same wire, it was black before. Okay, this is a hard process. It took me a couple tries, but at least it works now and we have a power switch that can be plugged into both the Raspberry Pi and the power bank. I have a couple of components laid out to test to see if everything works. The backlight was turned off for some reason, so I just turned it back on. We're gonna go ahead and flip the switch to see if everything powers on. And look at that, everything powers on. Now the screen is white because we don't have the HDMI connectors connected, but that's gonna be the next thing that we do. I'm just happy that none of the wires came loose with this janky setup. Now this screen comes with a micro HDMI to HDMI connector. This is going to be great for building our Cyberdeck because it takes up virtually no space. And we're booting right into Kali because that's what I used on my Raspberry Pi before this. And we're giving that power switch a couple more flicks just to make sure that everything still works. Jumping over to Fusion 360, we can take a look at the case that I've been designing. Now, my design is a little bit thicker than usual, but it should feel great to hold in your hands. We have a big cutout on the front of the device, and this should press fit the screen into place with the Raspberry Pi. Underneath the screen is where I'll be mounting the keyboard. It'll press fit into place, and there's even a slot on the side for you to stick your finger in and slide it out. There's even a hole at the top that I'll be using for installing the power switch. And I couldn't forget to add the vent holes. The Raspberry Pi has a fan attached to it, and having these holes will allow all of the hot air to escape. Now, I really love how in Fusion 360 you can change the color of each individual component. I finally settled on this pink and white style, and I think I'm just going to stick with it for the final build. And now that we're finally done with the case, I think it's time we get this thing printed. Speaking of printing, that actually brings me to today's sponsor, PCBWay. PCBWay is a one-stop shop for all of your PCB manufacturing, CNC machining, and 3D printing needs. They can pretty much help you with any project that you're working on. Whether it be a Cyberdeck or a robot arm, they pretty much got you covered. And all of their products come out super clean and professional looking. So no more complaints about not having the right tools. Hit up PCBWay and let them bring your dream to life. And I'll even show you guys how easy it is to place an order. Just select the service you'd like, mine being 3D printing, upload your STL, and select what type of filament you'd want. You can even pick the color and infill density. There's a couple other boxes you'll have to fill out about the description of your item and what it'll be used for. And scrolling all the way to the bottom allows you to upload multiple STLs. After that, you submit your request and wait for your item to arrive. You can even track the progress of your order on their website. You can sign up with my link in the description to get $5 off your first order. Well, that was fast. It looks like our order is here already. Let's go ahead and take a look at how these pieces came out. Wow, these look and feel absolutely amazing. I don't know what I expected, but it definitely wasn't this. These pieces feel really durable and have some texture on the faces as well. Alright, let's bring these over to my electronics desk and get everything assembled. The first thing I'm going to do is connect the USB-C ribbon cable to the keyboard and feed it through the back of the device. And then I'll press the keyboard into place. Now we can flip over the device and peel the protective film off the screen. The screen should press fit into place just like the keyboard. I'm going to take this SD card and put a lighter OS on it since I don't plan on using it for much pen testing. I think I'll just load it with Raspberry Pi OS. Now that we have that taken care of, we can pop the SD card back into the Pi. It's time to install the power switch. This part is a little tricky since I made the hole for the switch slightly too far forward, but with a little bit of pushing and pulling and some editing magic, I was able to get everything seated in there pretty comfortably. I'll just have to tighten the switch to make sure that it stays in place. Then I'll add this rubber tip to make it easier to flip and more aesthetically pleasing. It's time to plug everything into the power bank and mount it to the inside of the back shell. And we'll be doing this with the most secure method possible. Tape. I mean, it's better than glue and I don't want this to be permanent. With everything held into place, I can carefully lay the back plate onto the front plate and start adding all of my screws. And just like that, we have everything fully working and it looks so beautiful. There's a small gap on the side due to the battery pack and my measuring skills, but it's not that bad. And you can see the vent holes lay right over the Raspberry Pi, making it easier for that heat to get out. I also spent a little bit of time getting the touch screen to work as it didn't when I first loaded the OS. I can open up the terminal and type in a command and there we go, I'm user flame130. But what I really want to do is play some video games on this device. So I spent some time updating the system and downloading Retropie. After that, I launched the app and configured all of my input settings. If you're doing this for yourself, you'll have to go out and acquire ROMs your own way, but it's not that hard. After SSHing into the Raspberry Pi, you can upload all of your ROMs to the correct directory. And once you're finished with that, you'll see all of your games ready to play. From the list, we can select Pokemon Fire Red and load it right up. And I just gotta say, it looks and feels super smooth on this device. As you can see, I played for a few hours with my level 16 Charmeleon. But aside from that, I also have Mario. Now this is a pretty good one because I haven't played this version of it in so long and it just feels so nostalgic. And this one runs pretty smoothly as well, but I'll have to go out and find some more games to play, so let me know in the comments what I should download. And while you're still here, I'd like to take the time to mention that PCBWay is hosting their 8th project design contest. It's a global event for engineers and innovators alike to present their most creative ideas. You can choose to build a project in one of 3 categories: electronic, mechanical, and AIoT. And if you submit your project by January 31st, 2026, you'll have a chance to win one of these prizes, with the first place prize being $1,500 cash and an NVIDIA Nano Super. That's pretty cool. And if that doesn't pique your interest, PCBWay is also giving away a free purple solder mask for a limited time only. So go ahead and place your order on their website now. But if you enjoyed this video and would like to see more videos like these, make sure to leave a like, comment, and subscribe, and let me know down below what I should make next. This has been Flame, and I'm out. Peace, guys. Bye-bye.